It
it
is
has
8:30,
ended
it's
the
time
14th.
for
But I
weekly
think-
meeting of the
no,
National
I don't
County
think- I
Board
think
of Supervisors. We have an agenda in front of us. I would like to add under items of note, D, letter to the editor in the Globe Gazette this morning. Supervisor Boatlander, do you have anything,
No,
additions,
I
corrections?
Make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second, been moved and second, further discussion, hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Item 2, County Attorney, general discussion.
The only thing I have is what you kind of also have as
Item 8,
to discuss the lawsuit. I got a call from Carlton Selman's on, it's either Thursday or Friday, I don't remember which day. Wanted, kind of just to discuss what was going on. He had two concerns. Number one, he didn't really know if he was appointed, by the board. Number two, he didn't really know if he was appointed, and if so, he didn't really know if he was gonna get paid. And number three, he really didn't know if he could do anything. So what he wanted me to do was at least file an answer as the county attorney, kind of explaining to the judge what was going on and everything like that. I told him, no, I didn't think I could do that, but then he just kept, and I said, well, let me think about it. I haven't yet gotten back to him yet. I was going to get back this morning. Hopefully I get to talk to him before maybe you talk to him in that closed session. But what I'm going to do as the county attorney is just to get something on file, because what the code says is the supervisors have to provide a bunch of information to the court, and there's a certain number of days which you have to do it. And at least just get something on file saying, here's, I've got a conflict, I can't represent the Mitchell County Board of Supervisors, they haven't decided on counsel yet, please give them an additional X amount of days, to retain counsel and provide the court, the documents that are needed. So I'm not truly representing the Board of Supervisors in the controversy, but I'm at least getting something on file so the Board of Supervisors doesn't get defaulted out or doesn't get brought in front of the judge saying, why didn't you provide me with the documents I already need to provide you? So that's what I'm going to do on that. I also told Carl, you've known the County Board of Supervisors for a long time, at least, what you're doing now, doing your investigation, looking into it, forming an opinion and stuff like that. I'll make sure that he gets paid. Even if I have to pay him on my budget, I told him he was gonna get paid for doing that, because I don't know that you guys just, hanging there and not having any representation, so I told him I'd make sure he get paid. So, that's where we are on that. Why are you looking at me like that?
You didn't tell me that.
Well, I just talked to him last Thursday or Friday, I don't think we've spoken since then, So I initially told him I absolutely wouldn't do it, because I've got a conflict, and then I told him I'd at least think about it. So, I'll get back to him on that this morning.
Okay. Anything else for,
Or maybe tomorrow.
okay. If nothing else, well,
Okay.
thank you kindly.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. BBC project update, and apparently we have a pay request.
Yep, I'll give you a quick update first. We had our progress meeting at the pre-treatment plant on Wednesday. Those guys are doing good. They've got holes dug. They're basically for the next 2 weeks to be putting rebar in, forming, and getting ready to pour concrete for a couple structures. The guys over at the wastewater plant, they've got the hole prepared. They've got the footings formed for the big tank that goes out there. They'll be setting rebar for the next couple weeks. It takes a while. I mean, that's a big structure, so it'll take a couple weeks to get that set. We've got our first progress meeting with those guys on the 18th, I think it is, of September. Yeah, it'll be Wednesday. So basically 2 weeks from tomorrow. And again, that'll probably run every other week. And then when we met last week with the Henkel guys, looks like we're going to meet every other week as well instead of weekly for the moment, just because everything that I'm doing right now takes so long to get done, it doesn't make sense to have a weekly meeting. So our next progress meeting at the VBC plant will be a week from tomorrow. And again, you guys are always welcome to go to those. And then our first progress meeting for the Osage wastewater plant will be the 18th. Always welcome for that too. It is 9 o'clock over at the pretreatment plant, 10:30 over at the wastewater plant. I'll remind you again next week too.
Yeah.
You guys have any questions about where our progress is right now?
Schedule.
Yeah, you know, in the beginning, it's always hard to tell. Henkel's supposed to be providing me with an updated schedule. Val's been asking for that. I've been bugging them guys for it all the way up until Friday, so I'll bug them again this week. What I'll probably do is I'll bring that schedule with me at the next meeting that I have it at, just so you guys can kind of see where things are at. In my mind, we're either right on track or maybe just slightly ahead, just because we haven't any rain days yet. So it's been looking good with that.
It's good not to have a rain day, but golly, we could sure use
Oh, I
some
know.
rain.
Yeah, no, if winter time starts in October, then we'll be nice.
Yeah.
So it just kind of depends on how things go.
Once out,
Yep. All right.
I couldn't come last week for the progress because I had another meeting, that was the detail, so.
That's
tomorrow
fine.
I'm working, so we'll work out a week from tomorrow.
That's right.
I'll try to make that.
All right. Lowell, here's the official pay request for you. Here's a copy for you, Joel, for you, Stan. And if we look at the front cover there, what you're going to see is that the total current amount due is $166,701.86. Of that, just about half of that is stored materials. What we let contractors do is when they have to purchase materials, they can ask for payment for that, provided that they provide us with all the invoices. So if you go to the back, I mean, these are all invoices for the most part, except for the first couple pages. Like, mostly it's electrical equipment too. So the back 10, 15 sheets are all invoices. And this means that this material's been paid for, it's been delivered to the site. You know, we can go on inventory if we wanted to. The other 80-some thousand is work that they've done, and I can just kind of itemize that real quick. A little bit of it, I'm just going to say under 20,000 bucks was part of their mobilization. 50,000 bucks was the excavation out at the site so far. And then 10,000 was for the form work that they've got in place. And then about $6,000 was for some, they've started doing electrical work out there too. So like I said, this payment is basically split between half of it's materials they have on site, the other half's actually work they put in the project. We take retainage and all that stuff, of course, so. That is what this one is, pretty minor one.
There's two, exactly what it said.
What's that?
There's two of them.
They have 2 invoices in there, and that might be just a copy or on our part too. Yeah, I'm sure we copied that twice.
No, two
'Cause there's-
different invoices.
Does it? Okay.
Yep.
Same amount though.
Yeah. That's basically 1,000 feet of wire. Or 10,000 feet, so there's 20,000 feet sitting out there.
I'm sure it is.
I guarantee you it was used.
So you're happy with pay request, I take it, since you
Yep.
brought it?
No, that's all right.
I make a motion to approve the pay request of $166,701.86 to Wapasha for the wastewater treatment facility improvements.
Second. It's been moved and second, further discussion. Hearing none, vote please.
Aye.
One, aye, motion carried.
Very good. Like I said, no issues so far. I will be sending this to Brenda too, to give her a quick update so she can keep the Val folks up to speed
Yeah,
as she
that's
feels.
good.
So
Yeah,
that's kind of her
she is.
business, so.
Okay.
She has a long day today.
Yeah, she called me this morning like 20 after 7 already, and I know she's got a lot of stuff going on, but.
8 hours of interviews.
Oh, really? Jeez, excellent.
She's sitting on that NIAC board for
Oh,
president.
yeah.
Oh, really?
Mention that.
Okay,
So,
that'll be interesting. All right,
I'll have to call her later and see how it's going.
I got nothing else for you guys, so.
Okay,
All right,
thank you, Ken.
we'll see you next time.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for the big chair.
Yeah, thanks for your other help.
Oh, no problem. See you guys.
Item 4, courthouse question on the November 15th.
Okay, we called the Secretary of State's office last week, talked to Sarah, said there's probably a lot of what ifs on it. Need a little more information before she can really give a final determination. Explained what the project was, and we didn't need to know how much would be borrowed up to a certain amount. She mentioned in the code 331.442 applicable general county purpose bonds. The board would publish notice to issue the bonds. There's language here in there that the board could choose to use. And if you have a vote, it would require the 60% approval. The next special date would be November 5th.
And we have to have this ready to go by when?
September 20th is the last.
September 20th. Okay, so in other words, we got 2 more board meetings that we could.
Correct, yep.
All right, do you want to continue to try to find out the special language in that? And we were told last week that estimate of upwards of 7.1 million. Do you want to have a discussion about today about the amount that we should be putting on for?
Well,
Do we put any, do we go like 7.2 and just in case, or do we, you know what I mean?
yep, I know exactly what you mean here. Right, on the soft costs here, you won't see anything here for moving the Veterans Memorial. Now, my understanding is that they wanted the county to absorb that into this project cost. So, yeah, you may want to add a little bit to the, whatever it is, that right now it's 767,000 for soft costs and 6.3 million for hard costs. Which comes to what? Oh, 7.1, did you say?
Around 7.1 it was, I have my sheets at home, I took them home and I didn't bring them back.
Well, we don't need to make that determination today.
No, we wouldn't have to, but
They're coming back on the 17th of September.
again,
Well, we just have a special meeting, I guess, if that's the case, but as long as we need to have this on for.
but again, if the bid would come in just a hair higher, I mean, we're gonna have money to pay for it.
Exactly.
So that's my only concern. Do you want to also look into it, Lowell, to see if we can put on the ballot that it is our intention to use the 1-cent option sales tax and the tax tank increment financing TIF as the revenue sources? I think this would be helpful for the public to understand where the revenue, the intended revenue sources are going to come from.
Okay.
Anything else?
See you later.
Okay. Item 5, approve the minutes.
Well, it was brought to my attention that on the second paragraph, County Attorney Mark Walkstead is doing routine work, and I think we need to add and would not be representing the county in the pending lawsuit with DMR Enterprises LLC
Due to a conflict of interest.
due to the conflict.
Yeah.
Yeah, you better put that in there too. Not that he didn't want to make the, look like he's picking and choosing,
Right.
you know, so. But now, I think. Pending.
Pen, okay. Why do you write so small?
Well, I don't know.
Just pretty good.
That's why I never want to take notes from Brenda, because I can never read her writing.
She talks too fast too.
Okay, with that change,
Yep, I'd make a motion to approve the minutes as,
second. Been moved and second, further discussion. Hearing none, Volklander.
Aye.
Walk, aye, motion carried. Item 6, contract amendment to prepare deconstruction and bid documents separate from the new construction project for the courthouse.
well, in order, yep, I read through them, and as we discussed last week, in order to build a new courthouse on present site, well, the old courthouse has to be gone. So, and it was interesting to know too that they were going to basically grind up anything usable for engineered fill on the site, which doesn't mean it saves the county money for hauling it off-site. So yeah, I think that's the next step. We need to move forward and yeah, guess I'd make a motion to approve then going ahead and preparing the documents for bid for deconstruction of the old courthouse.
Second. Second, excuse me. Been moved and second, further discussion.
I think I will call them too, when if we approve this today, and I have a couple other questions I wanna ask them about that, so, anyway.
Okay. Volklander.
Aye.
Walk, aye, motion carried. Authorization to proceed with construction and bidding documents.
Here again, it's just the next step in the process. You gotta have these documents in order to go forward, so I guess I'd make a motion to authorize them to continue with the construction and bidding documents.
Second. Further discussion. Hearing none, Volklander.
Aye.
Walk, aye, motion carried. Discuss lawsuit. Since we have been served papers, and there is some discussion on strategy and so on and so forth, under Iowa Code 21.5, closed session, item C, to discuss strategy with counsel in matters that are presently in litigation or where litigation is imminent, where its disclosure would be likely to prejudice or disadvantage the position of the governmental body in that litigation. I would so move that we go into closed session.
Would this be to discuss with counsel?
We have to discuss whether or not we're gonna hire counsel. So,
I'd make a motion that we hire counsel. Well, your motion's on the table,
Mhm.
but we can't do that until we have counsel.
No, should have a second first for discussion.
But can we, because the code says to discuss with counsel.
Mhm.
It doesn't say to discuss amongst yourselves if you go into closed session. Well, I think we got it out of steps, Dan. I think we have to discuss whether or not we want counsel with this lawsuit.
okay,
So can I let yours drop for
we can,
lack of second?
let it die right now.
Okay, I'd make a motion that we hire counsel, Carl Solomon, who is our insurance company, you know, everybody knows Carl, so Carl's our man. there. I made the motion to approve. And he will, I did talk to him and he is willing, as if we went into closed session, we can give him a call.
On your hiring of an attorney, is this for the purposes of discussing the lawsuit, not necessarily to go ahead with it yet?
What do you mean to go ahead with it?
Well, I mean,
I don't think we have that choice, that we've been served.
well,
We
we've been,
cannot have counsel.
well, that
Just
does not
like Mark-
necessarily mean, it does not necessarily mean that we're gonna go ahead yet with the lawsuit. I mean, I can go along with, hiring for counsel, and then we can make that decision once we talk to Carol. Is that your motion?
You're seconding my motion to approve Carl as our counsel under this lawsuit.
For the purpose of, for the purpose of discussion right now. So that we can go into closed session and have that discussion.
First thing he's gonna wanna know is that he hired.
Yeah.
He's not gonna give you,
But I mean, not necessarily to go ahead with the lawsuit yet, for discussion of, for the purposes of discussing the lawsuit. We would hire him. For him to do the research and that, and then let's see where we go from there. Once he does the research, then we make the determination. There we go. Well,
say that again? You just wanna talk to Carl?
We wanna
For
talk to Carl.
Purposes of discussion on
on
whether.
the lawsuit.
All right, I'd second. Well, you
You made the motion.
I made the motion. All right, that's fine.
That was your motion, right?
We'll get a hold of Carl,
Okay, and I'll
he can
second.
explain everything to
I will
us.
second it.
All right, so now we got Carl hired as.
Well, we
for
gotta vote on
discussion.
it yet.
All right,
Vote for it.
aye.
Walk, aye, motion carried. We'll bring the tape recorder, let's go in the other room, and we're gonna go into closed session. Pardon?
He did.
I'll make a motion that we come out of closed session.
Second. Moved and second, further discussion. Hearing none, vote on.
Aye.
Walk, aye, motion carried. Now,
I'll make a motion that we hire Carl Solomons to represent the county in the writ of
whatever.
certiorari or whatever. And if it passes, we'll notify him of that.
Okay, so basically, we're just gonna hire him right now for this first phase. And we would have to make a motion to go further after that, if that's where,
Yeah, because he said he'd
Yeah.
do the research and give us whatever.
yeah, I mean, okay, as long as we're just hiring him right now for that first phase, so I will second that.
Joel, can I ask a quick question? What is this first phase of this hiring? So we're not gonna proceed with the lawsuit or at this time?
We have been served papers, and we need to be represented in court. And since the county attorney cannot represent us due to conflict of interest, we do need somebody to, and we have, I guess, voted that Carl will be the individual. He's attorney that represents the 10 or 11 counties now? 10 county insurance pool. And so he's familiar with us. He's done work up here before with the insurance pool and this and that. And so the motion is that that he will do the research and represent us on this motion in court. That basically, and then if the court rules,
Then we have to see.
it possibly can get thrown back here to another, back to the Board of Supervisors. In any event, if that's what happens, why, then it'll be up to the board to, we should have a three-person board at that time. We
We
will
only
be
have a-
making a decision.
We only have a certain number of days to respond to
Yes,
it.
yes, yes.
We can't respond to it ourselves.
So this lawyer is being hired for research to see
Yes,
how.
He's to
where-
represent the county to file the petition.
Yes,
in
and
answer of that.
advise you to is, hey, we can
Right.
win under, okay.
You got it.
Further discussion? Hearing none, vote Lander.
Aye.
Walk, aye, motion carried. Items note, meetings attended.
I had a county social services meeting in Charleston last Wednesday morning. We went over our budget for the coming year. Looks like, I don't have it in front of me, but around $8 million will be our carryover, but that's only up probably $477,000 from the previous fiscal year 13. So, and the board didn't want to, how should I say, fund any new programs for the county social services for a year to see how things were going to go with the redesign of mental health. And so far, I guess everything's been going as we planned. Nobody's on a waiting list and nobody's not being served that needs to be served. So, and that took up quite a bit of most of our time. Other than that, it was just proving the claims that had already been paid and how the meetings go. So, and they're a tough bunch. So, we have the 20-some counties, and then one gentleman brought up the idea of that we should do it in, have a central location to meet rather than to travel, because we have representatives from Pocahontas County, eventually gonna have to go all the way down to Key County. But that would only be once every little over 2 years. You know, because there's 21 counties, well, no, it'd be almost 2 years. But so anyway, that was some of the discussion, and we got, our meeting started at 10, and we got done at 1:30, so.
Mr. Chairman, could I just ask a question about this mental health?
Go ahead.
The 8 million, Joel, do all the counties, I know they pool the money, then can other people, if they need the money from, say, your county, it's not, doesn't remain autonomous to the county, is that it, or what?
Twice a year, the money's called for. That's the reason for that $8 million,
Okay,
is to get us through the time between the two draws from all the counties.
Mhm.
That's what basically it does. It's
so,
a
I mean, for
operating fund, if
yeah,
you wanna call it
if
that.
one county had need for more expenditures in that than they put in,
That's the reason for the pool.
then they can use somebody else's, right?
Right.
Kind of like the Heartland Insurance is for.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That- Nobody's money, once it goes to Butler County,
Right.
is counted as Mitchell County's money or Blackhawk's
Right.
money.
It's the pool's money.
It's the
Okay.
social services money. And they only, and then the legislature rolled that back, I think it's $47.20 per capita. I think that's how the mental health is done. So no, actually, our county got a tax reduction of a little over $100,000 this year because ours was a lot higher than that. There's like about 10 counties that got,
I understand that now, yeah.
yeah, but it's not a levy, it's.
No, I know, but I mean, I remember you saying a while back that some counties are mad because they had to pay more in or something,
Well,
or got
they
less
did.
or what?
No, that they were kind of upset about, because they had to send their fund balances in. Some of them had over $1 million fund balance, and then
Gotcha.
and the one guy was complaining to me that, well, we got bridges we could fix, and.
Well, you can't use mental health for
Well,
that.
that's what it is, yeah, we just gotta look at it, like, well, you can't use that. Well, we could
Okay.
use the interest, he says, and well, no, I don't think so. So that's kind of what it said. so far it's going pretty good.
Well, the reason I ask, is I remember way back, it seemed like our mental health costs for the county were a lot higher than is in the budget for the county now. So,
And part of that is due to, we have
County
a
care.
county care
Yeah,
facility.
it
And a
is,
lot of
yeah.
counties have, and that was another discussion we had. There was one had to close, they had 47 beds, and now they're going to 16 beds. And where those folks are going, anybody's guess. A lot of them are going home.
well, this was licensed for 42 when it was
Right.
built. Then we went down to 28, I think, or 26, and then 16.
So, and that's where Medicare is, or Medicaid is pushing it.
Mhm.
They're the ones that are saying we won't fund, anything over a 16-bed facility. So,
Thank you.
it's all a pretty big.
It's big bucks.
And it is, and it's just like
Yeah.
everything else. I mean, it's constantly in flux, it's always changing, somebody's always changing the rules, but anyway, that was my main.
I had a whole bunch of meetings last week. Basically, the outside of the Upper Cedar watershed one, which I'll get to in a second, all had to do with the fertilizer plant, and that's all I can say about it. But there was just meeting after meeting after meeting. It was really a wild week. Upper Cedar, we met last Wednesday, and Dr. Weber does really feel that a further study between St. Ansgar and Mitchell would probably result in some favorable numbers for getting a bunch of those people out of the floodplain, which I'm going to try again to relay that to those people, and I think that would be to everybody's advantage if that would happen. So he was pretty positive that he thought that he could see some pretty, but he wouldn't guarantee it, I mean, obviously, but he thought that it looked like there very well could be some very positive numbers. And I think if there was some work done on a couple of areas to the south and to the west of me that actually could hold water, and that would even make a difference and get those people out of the floodplain, which for resale tax purposes and that, it would, I think, could be to our advantage. So in any event, that's that. Those were the meetings I had. Manure management plan updates.
We have Maple Lawn Pork LLC, Section 23 of Union, TC Pork 2 Incorporated, Section 9 on Union, ProNet Farms Incorporated, Section 16 of Stacyville, and we do Osage River City Ag is going to be building, so we will have a public hearing on that probably September 17th. Put that in the paper.
Okay. Very good. Item C, discuss vacation carryover policy.
I say carry over the 80 hours. If they have vacation more than the 80 hours, pay them for the 80 hours in the year that they earned it. That way, the budgets are the budgets. And we don't have to have a budget amendment down the road when, say, for instance, 2 people retire and they've got 200 vacation hours, and their budget is beyond that. And if they want to take the money and put it in the bank and save it for whatever, that's their prerogative. Policy's the policy. They still get paid, and we still get the work done.
How important is it that we make a decision right away?
Important, but I think it should be definitely brought up to all the department heads in the next budget meetings.
How about if we wait until we get a third supervisor?
And that's fine, Stan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
No.
that would be okay. And like I say, in the meantime, let's have a department that We haven't had a department meeting for about 2 years. We normally used to have them.
Because you saw the same
We
email
had
I
these
saw.
last.
Right.
And if we're overworked and understaffed, well, then one has to ask the question, why are we understaffed?
No, I don't disagree on that. I mean, if,
Because I don't know that many people that like to work all that much. You know, if you're working 60 and 70 hours a week, well,
no, I don't disagree if we're, I mean, if we're
because then there's a
understaffed.
problem when, you know.
Either,
And then you're paying overtime.
Oh, right, then you're paying the overtime.
right, yeah, I have no problem with that. How about waiting until,
And that's fine.
yeah.
But I think we need to keep it.
yeah, no, I
Burner.
agree. Yeah, no,
Okay.
yeah, let's,
It's not,
maybe the first week in October or something like that, we'll put it on.
Okay.
Item B, we apparently this morning in the Globe Gazette, there was a letter to the editor. And of course, it again is saved the Mitchell County Courthouse, and it goes ahead and it mentions that the thing is being considered to be torn down by those terrible, terrible county supervisors, Stan Walk and Joel Volklander. And what it doesn't bother to explain in here is in the second to the last paragraph, that a huge amount of money that will be saved by keeping and remodeling essential parts of our present courthouse. I really feel that we ought to go to every one of those meetings, and I want to see the documentation. I want to see the documentation from either engineers that they have hired that are going to prove that they can absolutely do all of the work that they're saying they can do, and in this amount of money. Just to run up and down the street again to try to cause problems with no documentation is a terrible disservice to the people of Mitchell County.
well, I kind of had in my mind, if I saw any more of this type of stuff in the paper, even what we've all been through over the last probably year or so, gone through the hiring process of the architects, gone through the advisory committee recommendations, gone through everything. We've been taking this step by step, and you have not seen in the paper any commentary from the board of supervisors over this, because the press usually covered everything. It was voted by that group to go ahead and build a new courthouse on the old site. So that's what we've been taking as our guide or lead or whatever you want to say. What we've been trying to do is to get the message out that by voting to go ahead with the courthouse, using general obligation bonds, you'll save 1.5, 2 percentage points on the bonds. But if say the courthouse people want to keep doing this, then my feeling is, let's just get the revenue bonds, save us all a lot of headache, and have no vote at all. You know, the vote is for saving 2%. The courthouse has been, the new courthouse has been designed by architects, preservation architects, by the way. I'm not an architect, I'm not an engineer, so we have to trust these folks, and these are the folks that the group hired, but through their credentials, through their RFP. These are the ones that stood out. These are the ones that saw what the county was asking for, and they presented it. And
Yeah, they didn't like Scott and Anderson,
no, but if you look at the
so then they wanted
look
to
at the
sub
two,
them.
but yeah, but you go back and you look at the two studies, they're not that far off from each other. So nuts to all this. I mean, that's my feeling, and but whatever. We'll make that decision on the 20th of September, meaning whether or not to put it on the ballot. But if I'm gonna see a bunch of this crap in the paper again, screw it. Excuse my language, but that's the way I feel. I mean, it's, you know, we've done everything, followed the rules, done the studies, That old courthouse is never gonna, ever gonna be functional as a courthouse and provide all the needs that we need. I mean, it's just not going to do it. I mean, it's, as far as the size of the courthouse, I don't think it's all that big. I'm almost worried that it might be too small, but it is what it is. They decided it, they used the need study, they used it for the amount of square foot that we need. Well, I guess I have to trust those folks to do it.
Well, and the whole thing was predicated on the court system. The court needed so much space.
And those courtrooms are not that big.
And the court is on the second floor. And so whatever, and we tried the best we could to have them downsized. They downsized, I think, 600 feet from what they originally started. And they said we can't downsize anymore, that they absolutely was not going to. And that predicated what the first floor and the basement, the outside perimeters looked like, due to the second floor. And we had to work within the first floor and the basement on that. And so I'm disappointed too when people want to start nitpicking that Lowell's office is too big. Well, there's all kinds of storage again that has to be in these offices. Records that go back and so on and so
There's a
forth.
lot more business done than used to be. We are also doing passports now. We need places, and people come and fill them out.
I drive by,
Nothing been said about the treasurer's office, that's just as big.
drive by the annex. That's full of courthouse stuff. Drive by that semi-trailer that sits across the street. That's full of courthouse stuff. Drive by the jail. Half of that's full of courthouse stuff.
Yeah,
And we-
poor Greg's catching hell
We have
for it.
folk- We have folks out here that come out to this plaza, and they walk in here and then they made the comment, oh, this isn't so bad. But never mind, nothing, half the stuff is not here.
And we're paying $110,000 a year plus rent.
And that lease is up a year from October. And who's to say that they're not gonna say, well, you might need to find a place to move,
Or it doubles.
or it doubles. Same way with the courts up at Fox River. I can't say who, but I do know that there are people that look at that square footage at Fox River for industry. Who's to say they may need to go? So, all these friends of the courthouse might wanna be thinking about where we're gonna move the courts. If they need to move out. They're only there for another year from October too. And somebody got money that they wanna fix a building up for them, because the county doesn't. We've already spent enough money. It's time to move forward.
Oh, I skipped over Sheriff Beaver. Did you have anything this morning?
I've got
Quiet
nothing.
weekend? Quiet weekend, or
It was relatively quiet. Say, yep, we're good.
how many in the,
We have 4 this morning. Several cycled in and out over the weekend, but nothing major, so we're good down there.
okay, thank you.
Yep.
We will stay on recess until county engineer comes. Well, we're back in session. Morning, Engineer Brown.
Morning.
Tell us everything you know.
It's gonna be short. You had to wait longer than I'm gonna probably present to you, but, we're still on the rock run. We're getting close to the end here, but still running some, swapping out of quarries. One of the quarries doesn't, over by St. Ansgar there, the Coster quarry ran out of rock. And so we might be pulling some of that out of the Dino quarry or whatever to finish that up since they aren't in there crushing. As far as I know, that's what I knew last week. I don't know if they're changing now. We continue to blade, we continue to deal with FEMA and FHWA. That's taken a lot of time. I mean, going through every ticket, and it's more than one person can handle. So, I mean, we've got Claudia working on it, I'm working on it, and Jim's trying to manage all the construction we've got going on, all the projects we have going on. So, where we're at, we've got a rail car pipe coming in tomorrow, hopefully, for the structure on Echo. We bid steel plate arch pipe to go back in on Primrose, where we had put a temporary crossing in to get the farmer in the field up there. I wanna put back what we had, just to keep the flows the same. I don't wanna, if we keep the small little thing in there, one, it's not approved, number two, it's just gonna end up washing out again, so. We're gonna put the structural arch plate back in, we're gonna grout around it up to the spring line. That seems to be the best way to hold that stuff in the event of a flood, so. That's being bid out, we're getting the quote package together for that work. We're getting a quote package as soon as I hear back from the DOT. I need to put temporary surfaces down on some of these little bridge washouts we had on high service, Turtle Creek, north of Meyer, and a couple little places, Stillwater being the other one. Seeing if they're gonna consider that emergency yet, because it's not an emergency, but it still needs to be protected so that we can get through winter. So they're checking on some information on that, and so we're gonna keep trudging away. Good thing for me is my daughter's got confirmation in Osage, so I'll work Wednesday night a little bit. But I'm working on the annual report. I think I should have that finalized this week, so be turning that into the state. It's due the 15th, but I don't mind having it early either. So that's where we're at. I know Jim's on vacation this week, and I think Merle's gonna be taking a little bit of time off too, somewhere here late in the week, so. But it's a short week, so we'll handle it. Anything you have for me? Any questions? We are getting back out mowing again too.
No, I guess not really.
Well, if the phone don't ring, I can put the earphones in and just keep concentrating on counting rock tickets. It's really kind of tedious. I didn't realize how many FHWA locations. See, and the problem with the FHWA stuff, FEMA kind of covers, they don't technically put a minimum limit on the damages, and they're grouping the project sites different. FHWA doesn't, so our site's got to be a minimum of $5,000 to even pay.
FHWA, what's
Federal Highway Administration. They, on any federal aid route that we have flood damage, there's a special pot of money for those routes that get reimbursed for damages, and FEMA takes care of all the lower secondary road kind of things, so. You get to work with two entities to try to figure out who pays for what, and if it's a major collector and higher, FHWA has their pot of money, so we gotta put a different estimate together for those, and you gotta do your emergency and then your final project. A lot of ours won't have final projects, but we still gotta get the emergency money reimbursed. The good thing about most of our other stuff is our emergency and final stuff was kind of all at one time, so we'll probably get most of that 100% covered. The emergency stuff is 100% covered, and then your final projects are 80-20 splits or whatever that is. So the major one we're gonna have, that we're gonna have to put some money for is Turtle Creek. And that'll be 20%, and we're not looking a whole pile of money there, but. So we gotta get that, as soon as I get some answers from even FEMA on temporary service, then we'll be ready to go. So I'm still waiting for them to tell me that it's okay to put rail pipe in instead of bridges.
FEMA?
Yeah.
Don't give them our secrets.
I'm not giving money back, I'll tell you that, so I'm making sure it's done right the first time. I don't wanna be one of those people that
No,
got the money and then, oops, you did it wrong, and here, oh, by the way, give us the
You're
money
right.
back, so
Yeah.
that's not good.
You know, I did have to chuckle this morning up at the Stony Creek Coffee Club, and one of the landowners up there, he was complaining because his ditch hadn't been cleaned and his tile isn't running. So I finally asked, I said, well, have you called the county engineer to explain where this is at? And, well, no, and he should kind of know that I have, well, no, that's not how it operates. So, and I did have to chuckle. The other guys up there said, well, you know, he is really good to work with in that. And,
Well, that's good to hear.
you know, but you know, I don't know why these people think that you ought to automatically just understand that all these problems are out here and
Fortunately for us, you know, we've got a blade guy that runs every, you know, we got different people, our guys are seeing things, but, you know, there's a certain part of the drainage law too that we don't get too crazy about, but I know, and if I interpreted trying to interpret attorney is one thing, but the drainage attorney, you know, if you can pinpoint the cause of the siltation and everything else, it's technically that person's responsibility to clean the ditches, but we don't ever enforce that. kinda do it as part of, and, you know, we've got things we can clean anyway, but I mean, you know, if you really wanna get technical about it, you know, you could. We haven't, we probably won't change our procedures, but, we do have a large, potential tile project coming up. I'm meeting with, the tiler tomorrow up north of, beyond, is it Lancer? North of the curve, they're going up towards Stacyville. They're potentially draining 500 acres and they wanna use the ditch as an outlet, which is legal. But I'm not too hip on a 24-inch tile outlet in the ditch, because I think that could end up scouring the ditch. But we'll talk about it and see what kind of options there are. One lander being able to downstream landowner, he doesn't want the water either. So we'll have a conversation about it, see what there is going on, and go from there, but it's a pretty big project.
Well, yeah, last week, apparently there was another one where, our boys were cleaning culverts out and that, and there must have been a bunch of crap in the ditch too, and they explained to the landowner, they said, well, if you have a dump truck, we can clean that quick, and you can, yeah, he had a dump truck, and boy, I mean, they were really tickled that, good service and that, and.
If you have the truck, we'll load it, you can put the dirt wherever you want it, but typically we're gonna throw it in the field if the landowner wants it.
But I mean, it must have been a little clean out that
Mhm.
also had to be done with it, and
Yeah,
he was just tickled
No,
that,
it's
the
good.
good service, so.
We got a good excavating crew that's out there. They're
We
getting
normally
along.
just catch shells, so that's.
Yeah, it's always nice to hear that once in a while. Keep going.
Is the job everything you thought it was gonna be?
And more.
And more?
Turn the camera. No, it's, you know what, though? It isn't, but it's more.
Yeah.
But it's,
I'm sure
it's a
it is.
challenge. That's the good part. It's a challenge.
Every day is a new challenge.
It is.
isn't
It's a fun challenge. It can be trying at times. You guys know what it's like to be in the public eye, so do what you best you can and keep moving. Try to grow some thick skin. 'Cause I can't grow hair.
Safflower oil, tablespoon a day.
You know what? I'll just shoot it.
And where do you put that?
Where?
Consume it.
Oh,
Tablespoon a day, safflower oil.
point to your nose. I'm not.
So you want the machine recovered, not the chemical recovered safflower oil. Grows hair in 90% of the people.
You know what? Both grandparents were bald. I don't think it's gonna matter. Unless I put a wig in it.
There's a lot of bald people up in the Statesville area, aren't there?
Yeah.
You know?
The
Why?
water.
The water.
You got anything else? I'm gonna go and find my corner and sit, get some work done.
Have a good week.
Yeah.
All right, you too.
Anything else for the good of the cause?
I was gonna ask you, you said if you don't do it right, if